The slicer tool. The slicer tool is new to Excel 2010 and it helps us when we're using pivot tables to distinguish the different filters that are being applied. So for example, if we have our data and we highlight the list, and then we go off into the Insert menu once again to insert a pivot table. We're going to use the table range that we have here, and I can see now that I can add the fields to my report. So I'm going to add the name of each of my salespeople and then the sum of the sales. So it's put the names into the rows and the sum of the sales into the values. Now I can insert the slicer tool. When I click on the Insert Slicer, which is in the Options tab of the Pivot Table Tools, there's an option to insert a slicer, and it brings up all of the different fields that were in my original list. I'm going to show the department as a slicer, I'm going to show the products as a slicer, and I'm also going to show the region as a slicer. So you can show or hide as many of these as you wish and press OK. It opens each of them in their own window, and I'm going to drag them so that they're visible as separate windows. And also, just to make it look a little nicer, I'm going to use my slicer styles that are created up here at the top. So I'm going to click on the department and I'm going to change the color scheme, and I'm going to give each one of these slicers a different color scheme just so that it's an obvious different option when I see it appearing on my screen. So these are very much like filters that I can apply now to the actual data that's in my table. So for example, if I click on Accounts, I can now see a filter has been applied because this little icon here has become alive. Notice that that's inactive on these two because there's no filter applied here at the moment. When I click on the Accounts department, I'll see the names of the people and the sum of the sales. And I can also see that the products that are now involved are just 2 out of the 3. So within the Accounts department, Sony is not a product. And also all 4 regions are part of the Accounts department. If I change this to Admin, again I can see the different options appearing. So again, still only 2 products, but this time only 3 regions are involved. If I go to IT, I see the changes, and then Sales, I also see the visual change in the filter. If I clear this filter, I can then do the same, say for example for region. So in the East region, all departments and all products are being involved. Go to the North region, I can see that the admin department is not involved, etc. If I hold down the Control key, I can select 2 regions at the one time. Clearing any filter, clicking here, I'll see now that that has all come back so that I'm seeing all of my data back in the table. So the slicer tool is a lovely insert to 2010 because it shows us a nice visual when we apply filters to a pivot table that already exists. So again, we selected the pivot table, and in the Options panel we inserted a slicer, and once the slicers exist, then the options in the slicer tools allowed us to change the style, and then we use each of these windows as though they were filters.